You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. Phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. And guess what? We got a new caller, ladies and gentlemen. New caller. Let me push a couple buttons. Bing, bop, boop, bop, boop. Here we go. New caller, what is up?
Hey, Ryan. It's Brian with a B from Pennsylvania.
Yes.
I'm just calling to share a little bit of gratitude and hope. First of all, you rock. Your podcast rocks.
Thank you.
And all those other podcasters can suck it because you do the job so much better than them.
Yes.
I can't stand listening to them at this point. So thanks for making me hate all the other podcasters, I guess. Yeah.
I don't usually get like adversarial with anybody else. I mean, I think a lot of people do a good job or whatever. We just have different styles, but that was awesome, and I'm just going to lean into it. Heck yeah, everyone else can suck it.
You're so good at what you do.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the entertainment value,
Great
and the
start to the
quality,
show.
depth of information that you provide. It's
I'm going to request that we always start the show with this. So I need one person every day to tell me how awesome I am. Thank you.
Than everybody else. So keep it up. On another note, my wife and I are going to be at the Packers' first home game next week, and I'm really looking forward to cheering on Willis.
Yeah.
So really disappointed that Love's not going to be there, but, we're going to support the guy that's there.
Heck yeah.
I was in New England when Flinney almost won the game against the Patriots years and years ago.
Nice.
So this time it's going to happen. My wife and I were actually at the first home game last year. It was a couple of months after our wedding, and me being the true romantic that I am, I got us love jerseys as a wedding gift, and
Adorable.
we went up to the first home game, and we were in that end zone where that beautiful kick sailed wide right, and we were freaking out, and then all of a sudden my phone's blowing up, and friends and family are like, "You guys are on TV," and it was an awesome game, and this one's going to be the same. This time I got a prediction. We are sitting 3 rows in the end zone, so it's going to be Willis to Watson. TD as time expires. Watson can be so excited that he's going to jump in the stands over the first 2 rows, land right in our lap, and that's how we're going to win the game. I'll give you a call when it's done. Go Pack, go.
Well, we'll be looking for that. Every time there's a Lambeau leap, I'll be trying to check out third row up. Not that I have a description. I'll try to see what a classic Brian from Pennsylvania look would be. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll make something up in my mind, and when I see that on TV, I'll know. We'll all know. Hello. It was supposed to be a smooth transition there, JD. I was feeling good about that. I was like, we'll all know, bang. You know what I mean? I even pushed it a second early, and this is what you give me. All right, let's try his second call. JD. Okay, Snacks, help me.
Hey! I don't normally do this, and it's kind of petty, but after losing on Friday and having our QB get hurt, I don't mind relishing in a little guilty pleasure, but how about Velus Jones Jr. just coughing it up on the 20 after nobody in Chicago and anyone else wanted anything to do with that guy? Oh, the Bears staff was like, he's going to be special. He's going to be special. He just pooped it out on the 23-yard line. That made me happy. Carry on, fellow fans.
He did poop it out, in fact. Just one of the many glorious things in that game, aside from the part where everything was awful at the very end. I was feeling good about it. I was happy. That Bears game was the worst. It's not actually the worst, but it is frustrating. And this has happened in the past. It's not like it's the only time it's ever happened, but the only thing you have to do to win the game is not lose the game. You know what I mean? The Bears weren't doing anything to win that game. Not doing a single thing. Nothing. And you had taken a 17-point lead. Just don't lose. Don't give them free points. Don't let them return a kick. Don't let them punt, return, kick for a touchdown. Don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's basic stuff. Ain't a wheeze. Nate, what's going on?
Ryan, make the refs stop. I'm watching the Bears game and it's so, dude, it's unbearable. Like they're calling every little thing, stopping the game every 5 seconds. Good Lord. Did the NFL, like, do we need more commercials? Are they trying to finance the NFL through just 5 commercials every 5 seconds now? Like, what is all these penalties for? Why? I just want to know. I get the point of emphasis on the illegal formation thing, but they're calling every little penalty. Like, it's so many. Oh, God, I hate it. I hate it.
It does make the games a lot harder to watch, especially if you're not watching a Packer game. I mean, it's brutal to watch during a Packer game, but when you're watching a game you're barely interested in to begin with, it's like, I'm not doing this, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do something else.
Hey, Ryan. This is Trucker Bob.
What's up?
I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do this.
Oh, here we go.
I'm
in
just
trouble.
going to have to do it. You have been ragging on the Bears and ragging on the Bears.
What?
And you've been putting them down.
No.
You know, Ryan, you need to eat your words.
Oh.
You need to call those Chicago Bear fans up and just plain apologize. I mean, they won 24-17 today. And that offense was so destructive and so powerful. By God, you should have seen that. I mean, the first time they had the ball, they gained 7 yards in 3 plays and punted. And then the next time, they went 3 yards on 8 plays and punted. And then the next one, they went 17 yards. They actually got a first down on 4 plays, and then they punted.
Yeah.
And then, holy cripes, finally they went 28 yards and got a field goal. Geez, Ryan, can you see what I'm seeing? Then the next time they went 6 plays for minus 3 yards.
Yeah.
And then next time they had the ball, 3 plays for minus 3 yards.
Sure.
And then finally they go 11 plays and kick a field goal after going 44. They went 44 yards, Brian, with that offense.
Yeah.
Caleb Williams was doing so well. Next time they had the ball, they went 4 plays in 1 yard, and they still kicked a field goal. Keepers, you should have seen this offensive juggernaut. The next time they had the ball, they had to run out some clock, so they went 6 plays and 46 yards and then punted the ball. And then at the end of the game, they had 2 plays for minus 2 yards. And you've been ragging on them for crying out loud, Brian. Keepers. Their quarterback. He went 14 for 29. He threw over 50. He completed over 50% of his passes and almost hit 100 yards. He had 93 yards. With sacks, he had a total of 64 yards. He's right. You know how good he was doing? In that running game, they ran the ball 22 times for 84 yards. Jeepers, what more could you ask for? I think you're terrible, Ryan. Just terrible. You need to apologize to every Bears fan for how you've been treating them. 24 points they scored, and they won with Caleb Williams. On to the Super Bowl, Chicago Bears. Trucker Bob out, giving you what you deserve.
Man, that hurt. Well, listen, I certainly talked a lot of trash. Said the Bears, Caleb might not be good, and made fun of the guy for various things that have perspired. Perspired? No, not perspired. That's when you sweat. transpired. Huh. And look, I can't deny where we are, where we're sitting right now. The Packers are 0-1. The Bears are 1-0. As I've been reminded numerous times by Bears fans when I make fun of their efforts, that that is the situation, and presumably that means a lot. You know what I mean? When when they say that they're 1-0 and we're 0-1, that I don't know if that's how you go to the playoffs or what, but I'm not too up on all these things. The reality is, though, I probably should humble myself a little bit. I've been wrong before. I don't know if I've ever been this wrong before about anything. And I had a hard time, just be honest. I had a hard time accepting it, and I'm still struggling. I'm still growing as a human being, as we all are, right? But you're right, and I needed to hear that, and I will accept that Caleb did, as I did say yesterday, he did have a historic day. There's no denying that. The specifics of the historicity we don't need to get into necessarily. But he did, and they won with him as the quarterback. Again, don't need to get into specifics. Just he was, in fact, the only quarterback, too. Not like somebody came in to replace him. No, he was the quarterback first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And it was a win, and there were several points scored, lots of points. So yeah, I guess I apologize. I'm sorry. I failed a little bit there, and I apologize.
Hey, Ryan, Trevor, Virginia.
What's up?
Disappointed about that game. At least it seems like Love's getting away. Best case scenario from the injury, and they're even saying, I don't know. I heard some people saying that it should be closer to 3 weeks because it's like the lowest grade sprain of the MCL that you can have. So you might have touched on a lot of this, but if you did, feel free to skip over. But the number one thing I'm sick of hearing about is the field conditions. I think it's very clear there's many reasons to put the Packers and Eagles there, but the turf they use at that field, this is going to sound very familiar now. It's grass with synthetic fibers stitched to it every once in a while, throughout it, to help with stability. That probably sounds familiar because that is the Packers turf. I mean, it's a very specific kind of turf, and there are 2 teams in the NFL that have it in their stadium, the Packers and the Eagles. So I blame the equipment guys on both sides. I mean, not all the players were slipping. It seemed like there were some players that just never slipped. A.J. Brown, for one, I think. He even said in his conference note that it wasn't a problem. And I don't think he ever slipped. Why can we not have the right cleats before the game? I don't know. But there's a lot of positives of the game, kind of like you hit on, just need to clean things up. Hopefully we can win a couple. Love is out. That'd be the biggest thing right now. I do want to say, I have been saying for weeks that the kickoff, the best way to do it is exactly what we did one time, and then for some reason we never went to it again, and we downed them at the 15. I was like, you squiv it short, as long as it clears the 20, they cannot let it roll into the end zone. If it hits in the field of play, they have to return it. If it hits outside of the end zone, it cannot be a touchback, even if it bounces into the end zone. That's the new rule. And also, you can start running as soon as it hits the ground. So it hits the ground, it's rolling towards them, they're trying to field it, and you're already running versus not being able to run until they catch the ball. They're going to see a lot more of that from teams in general, as long as they can get the hang of it and not kick it out of bounds and not, kick it short of the 20 and get a penalty. So I didn't get why we only did it once. But anyway, I have more thoughts, but I'm coming up on time. Disappointed just with the whole other thing, but back go.
Yeah, and I kind of mentioned that in terms of just kind of failure all around. The NFL didn't seem to prepare the teams for it. The teams didn't seem prepared for it. In other words, they seem to not have the information. Again, we have people that take care of our field. Presumably, I mean, there are people that take care of golf courses. And you got to school for that. And so presumably the same people, but like at the highest level, are the ones taking care of, Lambeau Field and like professional stadiums. So these are people that not only went to school to study grass and soil and all the different intricacies that go into that, but are at the highest level of that. I don't think it would be that big of a deal, even if the NFL is not providing information, for that person to be tasked with, hey, find out what they're using and what that means. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know the right questions to ask you. That's your department, but I'm asking you. Go find out all about their turf, their field, the soil, whatever it is that you need to know to figure out what it is you need to know, and let's make sure we are properly prepared for it. And like I even mentioned, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to see if we can find something similar. Now, you mentioned Lambeau being somewhat similar. Presumably, yeah. I mean, again, I'm assuming soil and everything comes into that as opposed to just the grass and the fibers. What's underneath, I don't know. As far as, the big difference between like mud and sand and rock and whatever. Not saying those are options. I'm just giving you examples. But I agree. It feels very avoidable to me. Why don't we take our first break here? We'll come back and hear another call from Trevor. Kick off the 2024 football season with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's the easiest way to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch your winnings roll in. This September, get automatic win every week by picking Caleb Williams to get just 1 passing yard. That's right, 4 weeks of free wins, but only if you jump on it before September ends. And don't forget, you can win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks even has injury insurance, so if your player leaves the game early, you're still in the game. I've been loving Prize Picks, my go-to for simple, fast, and fun fantasy action. When my picks hit, I get paid in as little as 15 minutes. Download Prize Picks now and use code PACKDADDY to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code PACKDADDY for $50 guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Remember, Prize Picks is a skill-based fantasy game, making your lineups just got a whole lot more exciting. U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then, with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/sportsfan to download America's #1 sportsbook. Must be 21 plus and present in Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, permitted parishes only, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700, or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York or visit oasas.ny.gov/gambling. Standard text messaging rates apply. Sports betting is void in Georgia, Hawaii, Utah, and other states where prohibited.
Brian, Trevor, Virginia again. The other thing I'm sick of hearing about is Love's completion percentage. I'm sick of hearing about how he's 50%. I know for a fact I saw at least 4 dropped passes. At least. You know, you turn those into catches. He's 21 and 34 instead. He's up in the 60s. We're not hearing about it. Like, is he missing some easy throws? Yes. Is it as bad as it was early last year? I don't think so. But also, it's similar to the kicker. Like, we expect these kickers to never miss a kick. Like, no kicker does that. They all miss kicks. So, I mean, every kicker misses at least 10 out of every 100. Like, it's maybe not in the season, but on a career, you know, nobody is that good. So, it's just like, I don't know. But anyway, like, I've been watching Red Zone and watching these other games since they started. Patrick Mahomes, all these quarterbacks have had wide open receivers that they miss in every game. Every game, they'll show the top tier quarterbacks overthrowing receivers time and time again. And so I'm just sick of people acting like Love is the only one that misses any passes, because no matter how good of a quarterback you are, you're going to miss a pass. Anyway, the other thing I'm pissed about is the Bears. The commentators went on after about how...
Stop you for 1 second. I just want to touch on that. So I do to some degree agree, and let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. People like to pick on certain players. I talked about this recently where, you know, you could show one bad clip of a player that is kind of on the outs, I'll say Royce, even though that doesn't really apply anymore. But if somebody put a clip of Royce making a mistake, everybody would just go out of their minds, knowing full well that everybody misses a block at least once. So what is the point of this one thing? It's the thing that annoyed me. I saw somebody posted a clip of Quay Walker making a mistake, and it was bad, right? You can make excuses for whatever. It was a bad play. But that doesn't mean he had a bad game. He graded out as a 60. Did anybody go back and watch? I think Javon Bullard is another one. I went back and watched, so this NFL Pro thing makes it real easy to go back and look at certain things. So I went back and I said, I want to see all of Javon Bullard's coverage snaps. It wasn't elite, but I thought it was good. But I could easily take his 2 worst plays, and I think he had 2, you could call it 3, I think, actually. One of them I don't really fault him for. But if you wanted to, you could take 3 plays, put it together, and say, I don't think this Bullard guy is it. And it would look awful. Conversely, you could take his 3 top plays, and it would just be this, like, we got ourselves a stud. Which is usually what social media is anyways, but it's stupid when people cherry pick one thing or 2 things. That being said, again, I don't know that anybody's saying Jordan can't miss any passes. The whole point behind the rate thing is that he misses passes at a higher rate than everybody else. We understand everybody misses passes, but he misses more passes than everybody else. Now, I don't think that was a problem late last season, but it was a problem again in this game, and I think everybody acknowledges this was not his best game. So I'm not necessarily going to come rush to his defense and say it was fine, because it wasn't fine. It was a bad performance. Am I super worried? Not necessarily. I think every quarterback in the NFL, for the most part, with the exception of Sam Darnold, I think was terrible. I was just looking at NFC North quarterbacks. It was literally Darnold, and Jordan had like a 60 grade average, which was significantly better than Goff and Caleb, who were just garbage. I was surprised to see. I didn't watch that Monday game, but Goff, I think, was even lower than Caleb. It was just dog crap. A lot of really bad performances week one from quarterbacks. So it's not something you need to necessarily worry about, but I don't want to just use the overarching cop-out of, like it'd be like if you're driving your car down the road and you hear the engine just going clink, 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 and being like, bro, cars make noise. Like, you think cars don't make noise? It's like, okay, but that sounds kind of like a problem. So, there are nuanced things. There are what am I trying to think of here? It's not the be-all, end-all if he has a slightly lower career completion percent. I mean, it's not like the ultimate stat that the guys with the highest completion percentages are the best quarterbacks. That's not the case. Pat Mahomes is not that top guy. He's actually been relatively low, I think, based on how high he is overall. But it is a thing that you want, right? Especially things like CPOE, because that's taking even more things into context. That's saying you should have made that pass and you didn't. It's even saying more than that. It's saying most quarterbacks would have made that pass and you didn't. That's a direct comparison based on situation, based on the distance of the throw, whether you were under pressure, and the separation that the wide receiver had, the tight windowness of it all. Taking all that into account, you were not able to do what most quarterbacks could do. That I do personally care about, because I want Jordan to be better than other quarterbacks at things like throwing the football to wide receivers, not worse.
Ryan, what's up? It's Kyle from Madison, buddy. How are you?
What's up?
So, had a couple days. I had to just let things sink in, man. Can I just say, there is nothing worse than having what happened to Love happen and then having to be around people that are kind of sports indifferent immediately after.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was suffering. Because, here, I'm a grown-ass man, just, completely crushed. You would have thought I lost my dog or my best friend or something. And people are like, yeah, I know, okay. It's, people get hurt in the NFL, they didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me, it was this shattering life experience, especially how it happened and when it happened. My God. But that all being said, I feel like we're pretty blessed with how this is turning out, all things considered. And I guess looking at the game, you got to kind of look at it two ways. The before the injury and after the injury, because nothing really mattered after the injury. But before the injury, I mean, look, they've got, it definitely was rusty. There was some mental errors that I think caused some mental errors and some pretty unfortunately bad penalties, both earned and unearned, that altered this game. But considering all that, a couple changes and they could have just absolutely throttled the Eagles. But they made some mistakes. The Eagles made some plays. We had some badly timed penalties. And boom, a team like the Eagles, they do have experience. They might have collapsed last year, but they're an experienced team. And they know what to do when, you knew right away when we didn't get it in, when we didn't punch in one of those two red zone opportunities, right?
Rough.
And we went 6-0, you knew we were screwed. I mean, the whole game I'm thinking, I hope I'm wrong, but almost every time that spells doom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're that close to the end zone, you don't get in, statistically, I mean, you just knew it. But yet, there they were. I'll tell you, the O-line, I mean, that is such a rhythm and timing. I mean, I guess all the positions are, but especially that one working together. They hadn't had a lot of. I'm willing to get a little bit of forgiveness there. Morgan's missing some key blocks. We'll see. Hopper and Cooper need to be A1. 1 and 2. I mean, I think you got players there. Hold on. Let me just call you right back.
Okie doke.
Yeah, Hooper and Cooper and Hopper, excuse me. I think those guys can play.
Cooper.
I think there's going to be growing pains, but certainly the juice appears to be worth the squeeze on those guys' early return being pretty positive. So all in all, it was a slugfest. Neither team looked great. The footing was bad. I mean, some of those plays, and whether it's the same, it's bad footing, whether it's in Green Bay or in Brazil or whatever. It's a horse apiece, but it certainly played a role in it. So all of that, I was really willing to take the L and move on. And can I just say, too, look, Josh Myers, man, we were all hoping this would be the bounce back year. Certainly the Packers are planning on that. Okay. They had all offseason to address the center position because you knew you're going to have a new guard. I don't know. If he doesn't raise his game, that's going to spell disaster as well. I thought he was pretty poor. I didn't look at the game again, so maybe I'm being unfair. I don't know what his PFF grade will be, so maybe I'm just being emotional. But there's several plays I thought he did quite poor on, and we're going to need him to be good this year. Now, as far as after the injury, I mean, man, I was actually talking to my brother. I'm like, we should just take Love out of the game, It just felt bad. Then he made that play where it's almost in Hail Mary range. It's like, well, all right, let's swing it. I don't know, man. I think, let's just assume he's out for 3 more games. I mean, 1 and 3 would feel almost optimistic, wouldn't it? I know you said the other day you're not going to, bet against them considering the odds they beat last year, but I don't know. I mean, we saw the Titans even have a spurt today where the Bears just their defense made the game for them, but that looks like a tough game. Indianapolis can score points. And Minnesota, I'm just not sure where you get your win there, but I think you need one. You need one. You can't go 0-4. You might still be alive at 1 and 3, and then in the pipe dream world 2 and 2. But if you get to 1 and 3, I think it'd be good. Not good, but yeah, certainly that's the basement in my mind of what you got to do over the next 3 weeks. And then let's see what kind of player we're getting back, It's really hard to grade 10 and his performance too. I thought he did some really good things. Some other things weren't great. But I don't know enough of the plays. I don't know who's supposed to be where. It's hard to say. Everything just on both sides of the ball just kind of looked about what you'd expect for not having played together. Same thing with the Eagles too. But main thing, if they can just put the Eagles away in the first quarter, Barkley's not getting the ball, we win the game. So let's see what we can do going forward.
Yeah, there's just too many variables, I mean, I get where you're coming from, where it's like, it's tentative as it is. If you come into this and say, maybe we win 10 games this year, and then we just drop this one, and it's like, yeah, hopefully it's still 10. This was an iffy one. But, hopefully it's still 10. Then you realize you're not going to have Jordan for at least 2 weeks, maybe. I don't know. Now they're saying we'll see if he's cleared this week. I'm guessing that's just, Matt saying, whatever happens, even though it's not going to happen. But let's say 3 weeks, I think, is what is mostly expected. Now you're thinking, oh, crap. Well, what does that drop us to? 9 wins? 8 wins? I mean, I guess if you had us at 17, this is no big deal. But, I guess 16. But yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows how these things are going to pan out? Take it a week at a time. Packers are 0-1. It's not that big of a deal. And we've got 2 pretty bad opponents coming up. At least they were bad this past week, mostly. I mean, there's a lot of good, too. Like I said, the Colts were better than the Titans, that's for sure. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. We just got to watch and see, I guess. That's the best I can do. But I'm not going to start, mourning losses that haven't happened yet, I guess is the best way I can say it. Let's take our final break. We'll come back and hear from Randy in Minnesota.
Good morning, Ryan. It's Randy, Minnesota.
Hey.
Man, I tell you, I waited. I wanted to kind of get my thoughts together. I watched that entire alleged football game between the Bears and the Titans. The Bears won in spite of Caleb.
Well, yeah.
That was
that's for sure.
That offense is horrible. Their offensive line, it was like a turnstile. And I'm seeing on people post stuff like, watch out, Green Bay. This is your nightmare for the next 15 years. Talking about Caleb, like, oh my God, will you people get a grip? And as far as the Queens go, they played the freaking Giants. I mean, the Giants and Carolina, that might be the worst game ever. So I'm not too worried. Detroit won. Whatever. But I'm not ready to throw the season away. I hope Jordan gets back earlier than what they say. We're going to clean some mistakes and we'll right this ship. And anybody who wants to jump off this bandwagon after one game and an injury, come on, man. We've done it before. We can do it again. Anyway, that's just my little thoughts of positivity. Have a good day. Go Pack, go. Bye.
Yeah, I was just poking around as you were talking here. This team that we have to worry about for a really, really long time. You know where their offense ranked via DVOA? 28th. That's even taking into account. I mean, Tennessee's defense, I guess, is not the worst in the world, but that's taking into account the opponent. Still, 28th ranked offense. So that's probably not something I'm super scared of. And you say, well, the defense, though, was super elite. Yeah, that kind of works against you, though, with the whole Tennessee thing, because the offense is not as respected as the defense is. Also, despite being currently a top 10 defense, they have them ranked 7th after week 1. Technically, I should be more scared of Minnesota's defense because they rank 4th right now. Dallas 3rd, which is another team that we potentially you're going to be seeing at some point. Probably got to beat them in the playoffs, or it's not a playoff game, right? Or a playoff. So there's that. Also, the team you played, Tennessee, has the 6th ranked, and we got to face them in 2 weeks. So, yeah, I mean, it was decent defensive performance, I suppose. Again, top 10, so congratulations on that. But no, I'm probably not super freaked out about it. And yeah, in reality, the maybe the most painful one is Detroit, only because, the Rams are really the only team that our opponents face that were potentially playoff contenders. So, you're kind of drawing up like, hopefully that's a loss, hopefully that's a loss. This is one you look at with the Lions and go, yeah, hopefully they lose this one. I wouldn't bet on it necessarily, but you kind of hope they lose that one, and they didn't. So it is what it was close, though. It was pretty close. And they almost really choked it in the end. It sounded like it was a done deal. The Lions were going to win, and next thing I know, it was overtime. Nate Dogg, what's going on?
Hey, Ryan, it's Nate. I wanted to call in with another criticism.
Here we go.
I don't want to do it, but it was bothering me. I'm listening to your episode about Caleb Williams and the Bears, and obviously love all the content. But the one thing that was bugging me is you kept saying you were referring to Don Majkowski, but you just kept saying Don Majkowski, the Magic Man. It's definitely Majkowski. So I just wanted to correct that.
No.
And also regarding the Bears, I don't know.
I don't think so. Let me do this real quick. I pulled up some either Don Majkowski or Don Majkowski highlights, just so we can hear the announcers and hear what they say. Here's the highlights. Oh, hold on. We got to
go to the end zone to Perry Camp. Touchdown! Here's Majkowski back to throw on first down. Gets a good block. Now runs out of there to the right. Wants some help throwing downfield for Fontenot. Got it. Touchdown! Don back to throw. Don looking. Don running. Don throwing. Touchdown.
It's called him Dom.
He sets up the throw. He's going right corner of the end zone. And it's caught for the touchdown.
Back goes Mikowski to throw on second down. Looking and in trouble.
It's Mikowski. Here, let's do this one. It's even clearer. This is from 1991.
But if there is one player who symbolizes the hope and spirit of the Green Bay Packers, it is Don Mikowski.
There's also this guy doing a little clip thing. I don't know, but let's see what he says.
Way before Aaron Rodgers or even Brett Favre, there was this guy. His name, Don Mikowski.
Got me feeling all self-conscious, dude. Like maybe I've been saying his name wrong for years, but I'm pretty sure I got it right.
About you, but I'm actually hoping that the Bears start this season like feeling good about themselves. I want them to, between their defense and their special teams, kind of have a few of these wins where it's low scoring but they win, because I want them to get their hopes up. I want them to get their hopes up about Caleb Williams. And then I want Caleb Williams to do exactly what Fields did and just let them down over and over and over again, because I think that is just so much more enjoyable as a Packer fan. See, if he comes out and he just keeps having games like this where he can't even reach 100 yards, well, that's going to be boring because they're going to give up at, 3 games in. But if they keep winning games, even when he's playing like crap, just throw in a couple special awesome throws here and there to keep their hopes up, and then just let them collapse in on themselves, because it's not fun if they just keep being miserable year after year after year. I want to see a little bit of hope. I want that hope to come through so that it can be crushed, because that is just so much more just delicious. It's delicious when that happens. So that's what I'm hoping for. And also, definitely Don Mikowski.
That's incorrect, and you should, I'm sorry if that rocked your world, but you're going to have to adjust. Also, it would be nice to not have them get the number 1 pick in the draft 3 years in a row. So if they're going to be that garbage, we're going to need them to win some of those really fluky games where other teams hand them 24 points. Because it's going to be tough losing to the Bears at that rate, because that was about as bad as it gets. And it's Mikowski.
Hey, Ryan. It's Aaron calling from Eau Claire. So after the weekend of football, obviously kind of a relief that Jordan Love is kind of the best-case scenario for his injury, that he probably will return in a few weeks. To a month, something like that. So I think, obviously it still sucks, but there's something to look forward to there. And then, just watching all the other games and following the scores. We kind of had a rough weekend as Packers fans from a football perspective, because all the other teams in the NFC North won and we lost our starting quarterback for a few weeks. So that's not good. Anyways, I guess, obviously it's just week 1, but I guess what I'm most concerned about is with the whole backup quarterback situation not being super solid. By the time Jordan Love gets back, what kind of a hole are we going to be in is my concern. Are we going to be 0-4, 0-5? Are we going to be 1-4? Or can we pull out some wins in his absence? And that's, I guess, after this whole experience, some of my opinions about the backup quarterback situation have changed a little bit, because I've always heard people say, well, it doesn't matter who the backup quarterback is really, because if the starting quarterback goes down, we're screwed. And I used to kind of think that makes sense. But now I'm kind of man, it'd be nice to have a Ryan Tannehill that knows the offense that's up to speed on the offense, because he's won games. He can win games. It'd be nice to have Tyrod Taylor or like the Steelers, they had Justin Fields as the backup to Russell Wilson. You know, he's won some games. He's got some talent. So I guess it kind of feels like, Packers kind of pooped their pants on that backup quarterback situation a little bit. I don't know if any of the solutions they had during the preseason would have cut it, but one sec.
Yeah, I'll just jump in here. The only real pushback that I would have on that is if the Packers felt that Ryan Tannehill could come in this week and win, they would have called him. They obviously don't. You can say, well, you know, it's because it's last minute. So is Malik. He's been in here for 5 seconds. He doesn't know the offense. He doesn't know jack squat, and he's going to be our starter this week. I don't think that there's as much confidence in Ryan Tannehill in Green Bay or anywhere else. Remember, he doesn't have a job. Think how many bad backup quarterbacks there are, including Malik, by the way, and Justin Fields, who's terrible at football. I mean, Bryce Young is a starting quarterback. The fact that Ryan Tannehill can't get a job, I think it speaks pretty loudly to how we should be thinking about the situation. I don't think that there's a lot of belief that he's going to be able to get anything done for anybody. Well, Aaron, I was going to play the second part of your call. Might have to wait till tomorrow if I can even remember. I did the whole thing, went on a whole long talk, and went back and played, and it was all fuzzy, buzzing, loud noises and everything. I had to delete the whole thing, and I'm not doing it again because I haven't even recorded tomorrow's podcast yet, so I got to get rocking on that. But I appreciate your call. Appreciate everybody's call. Thank you to our new caller, Brian with a B from Pennsylvania, and I'll be talking to you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye.